coming to bit of rise in distributed manufacturing, I'm just taking some global example. You all know Apple, you know that how much of iPhone is selling, and as today morning we referred, design only in one location, sourcing throughout the world, Europe, Asia, China, everywhere, assembly only one location. Very recently probably they want to do in Brazil, but distribution is again global. So design in one location, and then I think they sell it throughout the world, and they source it I think from almost about several countries. So the data says that 1,000 suppliers from 31 countries, but designed in only one place, assembled in only one place, warehoused in only one place, but distributed all over the world. Now you can imagine what distributed manufacturing could do. And somebody said that they feel bad that we are not making it in US, therefore he said that made in China but designed in USA. Okay, you can vent out your grievance, but I think China has the plus to do something. So why China was doing it is because they could organize 8,700 engineers to manage 200,000 factory workers in just 15 days. If that organization has to be arranged in USA, it will take 9 months. So I think that is the ability of what you call, and otherwise I don't think iPhone should have done, or Apple should have done a research why they want to keep the manufacturing in China. So if you want to reshore it, they don't want to do it for two very powerful reasons: scalability and the supply chain risk. The Chinese capability and the risk associated doing probably in US, even if you want to reshore it, you will pay more taxes, you will spend more money on labor, and the phone will cost more, and ultimately you will pay for 4.2. But I think that model, outsourced model or distributed model, works for Apple, and I think it is very successful. Looking at McDonald's, again, so many outlets and so much started so many years before and all that. But look at one single piece has got a patty coming from Maharashtra, the sauce coming from Punjab, the lettuce coming from Ooty as well as Dehradun in Jharkhand. You are getting what you call the cheese from Baramati and all the places, and all that hand picked. I think they go to the farmer, they work out that the French fry should have a size. You cannot have a French fries like this, small thing. The French fry should have a thickness, it have a length, and therefore the potato should have such a size. And that has gone to the farmers, they really work with them, and then I think the franchisees have to source it from there. You need to only fry and pack it and give it. Very successful distributed manufacturing with quality control, I think the specification control. So absolutely great. Cycles. This is another what you call, it's a Guinness Book of Record. One in every 10 Indian owned a cycle in his lifetime, but they started making about 650 cycles in 1956 throughout the year. And today they make 18,500 cycles per day. And I think it's not a big manufacturing. And the history, I think some of my seniors will know that they started as a component supplier to TI, and they became a dealer to TI. And I heard in IIMM annual convention in I think maybe Taj or somewhere, where Brijmohan Munjal telling, he was a keynote speaker, and he said that how nice it was for the founder of TI to tell me as a dealer how long you are going to sell the cycle, why you can't manufacture the cycle. So the TI encouraged his own dealer to become a competitor, and today you can look at, and Hero is absolutely great this, and probably today I don't think that you will create a competition like this, but the model is amazing, everything is bought out. So what he did is that starting with component, making assembly of the cycle. Now today I don't think you take your son to a cycle dealer, you don't get a cycle, you can't sit and drive back, you get a kit, and once you pay then he assembles and gives to you. So the model has changed. I think therefore Hero's model has changed completely. So that is completely bought out model, and that enabled them to get that number, but still the quality is controlled. To my own company, we have this many plants. We have what you call 50,000 part numbers, 950 supplier, 1,200 dealers, one car every minute, and about 31,000 crores of purchase. And plants are distributed all over India. Suppliers are distributed all over the world. So we have almost about 1,200 suppliers across, and managing them is going to be very difficult. So I think the system of distributed manufacturing has evolved, and I think when we look at the challenges, probably you as materials manager will appreciate. So therefore, complexity, but with an interest to give what I call the desire of the customer, and you have multiple products. And my complexity is much more. It is from a two-wheeler to a 49-ton truck or to a construction equipment. And every time people coming and telling that you are the managing director of the suppliers. So therefore, you have that onerous task it is not a pleasure, it is more of a pain. So getting into the challenges, volatility, I think we discussed in the morning, which nobody could predict. That is why you are not able to predict the demand. And I think you have disruptions. Therefore, it could be natural, it could be what you call our own creation. When you create a drawing, the designer creates a drawing for a plastic fuel tank, one specification, manufactured only by one company and manufactured only in one location in the world, I think you have already created a risk in the drawing. One specification, one manufacturer and one location. So I think you are building risk, and therefore I think you are getting into less control and what you call complexity and all that. So let us talk about the other challenges. We need to first talk about the product performance. Distributed manufacturing is fine. You can reach to the world. Your numbers can go up. I think your profitability and contribution is fine. But I think that please look at the product performance. Almost about 1 million cars are recalled only in India in the last 3 years. And none of the recalls are due to the OE. Most of the recalls are due to the suppliers. If it is Honda, it is Takata for the airbags. If it is Toyota, it is that what you call accelerator pedal. Or if it is somebody else, it is what you call the fuel module. And most of them are made by suppliers. Now please, we have talked about the finer points of distributed manufacturing. You are getting into the difficulty that when you outsource it without a proper link, your card is not connected to him correctly and you don't have the filtering system, it can derail you. And I said that Toyota spent totally 5 billion. Only Toyota could manage that. Nobody else could manage that. And every company is having a problem, and therefore I think a lot of legal issues are coming in. Financial crisis, you distribute it, they are able to manage when there is a growth. Every bank is willing to give it to you. Those days, some of us will remember, if you want to buy a house and take a loan for that, I think they will say that based on your repaying capacity, I'll give you 40,000 rupees. It's a great money those days. But today, home loan comes home. So that is the situation. You want to ramp up, I think money is available. But I think the fellow has borrowed. The production has come down from 10,000 a month to 300 a month. He is not able to manage degrowth. The banks are still insisting. And there are how many? My pocket is full of people who today have liquidity issue. Because they are not able to manage degrowth, but they could survive in growth. So this is going to be an issue on distributed manufacturing. Talent management. Maybe Mahindra can attract talent of people coming from all over. Look at a small paint supplier for me who is specialized, very good. And if one expert paint specialist, technologist leaves the company, and the next day you find that 30% rejections cropping up. So I think they are not able to attract talent. So that is an issue for you. Labor interest, I think, is cropping in the India risk survey. Both labor and the fire is going to become a big issue now. So today you find the aspiration of people are not there because the economic situation is down. But the moment I think you see that everything is zooming up, the aspiration of people is going up. So therefore, as Stefan Covey said that, you need to manage the aspiration of the people that when there is a growth, it is natural that everybody is aspiring that they get a pie of that. If you can't manage that, it's going to be very difficult. But right from the Industrial Revolution, the day we talk, that you put it in your balance sheet, that people are expenses, but machines are assets. We are not engaging with human being. You think that they have 2 hands and 2 legs and you want to leverage. I think the way you think that people is an expense, but machine is an asset, I think we are still not out of the Industrial Revolution. You can't engage people, right? If you can't engage people, he has got a knowledge, he has got a, what you call an experience, and you need to respect his art, you have to utilize his head, and that is going to create the labor issues. Let the industry grow. I think there will be a lot of good things, but along with that you will see that this thing. And we don't know, I think a very high degree, I have a lot of issues like that. And if some safety issue happens, you find that 10 channels for 3 days and 5 days only going to show you what happened here. Power crisis, on an average you have about 6.5% deficit. Today it is not showing up because there is a depressed mood in demand. The demand has come down, but what you call the capacity has not gone up. So therefore you look at the power going to loom on you. And this is another issue. Please look at the Indian suppliers, they are largely family owned. Even big companies, Samsung, Bosch, everybody is family owned. But family owned has its own advantage because if it is professionally owned and you employ me, I start thinking after the 5th year that can I get a better job. But if it is family owned, the decision is faster, there is a commitment, there is a ownership, so they have advantages. But the history says the 3rd generation of the family is not able to hold on to it. Majority of the family owned companies by the 3rd generation, founder, his son and the 3rd generation, they are not able to. So therefore I think you need to give the expertise of what you call how to manage your family. Your father may be an MD, But you can't call him in the factory, hi dad, you cannot, right? You need to still call him as chairman, Mr. Chairman. I think you need to have a family governance, right? And you need to look at the difference between the family and the business. So you have experts today who could help the suppliers to get some finesse on the family business. This is very interesting. This, I think, helped us to do some good study on that. Suppliers are not future ready. Today they're given you economy, they're given you cost, but they're not future ready. So we did a survey, bit of a survey. I'll come to that a little later. This is a data which shows that the car companies' models have gone up. Volkswagen, Toyota, Ford and all that, look at from year 1 to year 6, number of models launched have gone up. But you also look at it, the investment made by the same companies is down. So therefore, if models have gone up, but the investment of the car companies is down, then who is investing? Your distributed manufacturer, he is investing. Then I think if he is investing, we need to talk about a capability for him, because you are giving the responsibility to him. He's going to look at the responsibility, right? So you look, like I talked about earlier, they are not future ready. The survey of a limited survey said that on capability, on finance, and what you call succession, health and all that, very poor scores. This is the reality of your distributed supplier. So therefore, we looked at it, a lot of them are below the threshold, that they have moved on the x-axis on revenue, but they are not moved on the capability on the y-axis. And it is largely not technical. With the advent of Maruti coming in 83, the shop floors are better. Compared to the 60s and 70s, you talk about 3C, 5 years, right, pull system, Kanban and all that is fine. But I think they are croaking because they don't know how to manage finance, how to manage people, right, how to manage what you call innovation, technology, and that is the issue. So we look at it, when you want to handle your suppliers, high degree of outsourcing, distributed manufacturing, there are two models of holding the supplier. One is the Western view. The Western view is all what you call, look at the Stuttgart type of Bosch, Continental, ZF and all that. The countries are developed by nature, the suppliers are also developed by nature. So therefore, if a Audi or a BMW need not give a very elaborate drawing to Bosch. Bosch is capable of developing on its own. But you look at the Asian side, which is what you call Japanese and Korean, you find the drawings are not in great detail. Because these companies, the countries were not developed at the time, the suppliers were also not developed, therefore the drawings are in sketchy, but they did a lot of development by hand holding. There will be what you call a relationship that you sneeze, I will get cold. It is something like that. So if you look at the Asian model versus the Western model, developed and innovating, hand holding, and there is a lot of trust in this thing. So what model is our model? Are we in Western model or we are in Asian model? I think we need to look at it when you are looking at this thing. So the Asian model talks about a kairitsu, which is well explained by means of a castle and a town. The castle protects in emergency, but rest of the time the town also supports the castle. It's something like an absolutely hand-holding type of a relationship. So you need to give them a capability which is balanced 360-degree technical as well as managerial. They are lacking in managerial. I think they are comfortable in technical today. So we put up a system of a 4-pillar and 21 sub-pillars and all that. We are talking about everything: recruitment, onboarding, risk mitigation, engagement, health, safety. I think this everybody has to do. I talked about the family business management. We closeted 100 families, father and son, brothers, sisters, and then brought an expert to talk about 2 full days, how do you manage the family business, right? So risks are plenty. When you talk about distributed manufacturing, it can come from any side, and therefore I think this is something we are talking, but we are actually not doing much. And it could disrupt you, and you can list them into what you call umpteen, like the diseases are plenty, I think the risks are also plenty. So finally you need to engage with them and measure the satisfaction, that you think that they are satisfied with you. I think they have a lot of pain in dealing with you. Take some what you call inputs from them on technology. Please give them reward and recognition, and differentiated manufacturing can really work. But at last, I think it is all the people. So companies talk about performance, which is the business, and which is largely measured on results, and results are powered by solutions, but people actually power the solution. So if you look at performance is equal to people. So you can outsource it, you can what you call distribute the manufacturing, you can distribute the marketing, you can do anything. The man behind the machine is more important than the machine itself. I have money, I can buy a machine, but the man behind the machine is very important. So it is going to be a puzzle managing the distributed manufacturing. You need to solve them together to add value to your enterprise. You can add to this puzzle a lot. So I want to just what you call you to ask some question, that is your supply chain really understood the role in today's evolving situation, and how I think is the right performance of speed, service and quality is the supply chain adding. And I think, are you getting the early signals? Have a long antenna and pick up early signals from your distributed manufacturing. And are you ready to understand the external shock and take care of it to protect your business? And finally, is your supply chain really adaptive when you have a high degree of distributed manufacturing? So you have between you and your supplier two different capabilities. OE companies are only going to keep the brand, the design and the price. Even the assembly of cars is already outsourced. So you have certain strength and your supplier has got certain strength. He has a strength of a leg and he has a strength of a hand. I think if you could synergize, it will be a win-win together. So be cautious. You can bask in glory. My distributed manufacturing has yielded result and I had a beautiful synergy. I won the race. But please don't forget, it is on a placid water. The synergy that is required for a turbulent water is that when he rows, the other fellow should not row. The water on the bridge has changed. But you had synergy and you had everything, but I think the game has changed. So therefore, mostly, even I think you have adopt all this, what you call distributed manufacturing and reap the benefit. But my feeling is that we are going to fail largely because of our internal failure than what I think the economy or the society or the competition is going to inflict on you. So it's good to have adopting the differentiated manufacturing, but I think we need to keep the challenges ahead. Yes, I think Ravi is probably the factory head of one factory as a production chief, but I think I am the head of 1,200 factories. Any fire problem, any accident, anything, I am answerable. Therefore, the more and more you distribute, I think the capability that is required to manage this network is much more complex than probably it was in 50s and 60s. So I think Alexander the Great has said, my logistic guys are a humorless lot. That means you don't smile in their face. Because he says that if I lose a war, they are the first ones who are to be slain. So I think we don't have Alexander as bosses. Because even Alexander has realized to win a war, logistics is important. Our supply chain is very important. So I think we need to take care, it is fine. But I think let us be cautious. Thanks for IIM to give me such a good opportunity.